Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Cinespection. I'm Gabe. That's John. John, we have an announcement today before we get into the turd of turds,
The
also known
turd
as
of
Willow.
Yeah,
Uh,
we're going to be moving to a new channel
yeah.
of our own doing, and that will be starting with a review later this week, and slowly we'll move everything over to there, probably over the course of like a week or two.
Well, new channel. If you watch us on
Yeah, if you watch us on YouTube.
YouTube, if you listen to us on streaming or whatever. Sorry, podcast streaming.
Sure.
Nothing will change. We're just moving on YouTube to a new channel. We're really happy with our friends at the Painted Lines. It's been great, but we're just focusing on doing our own thing for now. So I'm sure we'll still collaborate with our friends at the Painted Lines. Our friend Dives, who is main guy out here. But yeah, slowly, I think we might have like a bit of an overlap at some point, especially
Yeah.
this week. We'll figure it out. But if you think we're somewhat funny, then go subscribe there. Funny, or what else could we be if we're not funny?
I don't know. But we'll be
Compelling.
tweeting out, the thing for those who use the Twitters.
For those that use the Twitters. Okay. Willow. We reviewed episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we were supposed to review 5, 6, and 7, and 8, and we just, we couldn't find a way to do it. So now we're just doing the whole thing.
The second half of the show, basically.
Yeah. Do you want like I don't, without repeating ourselves, because I know we're gonna say a lot of the things we've said, for the other 4 episodes, without repeating ourselves, like any like high level thoughts before, because I'd like to go like episode by episode, because I really do think we had like similar.
I mean, the shot was the show shot very well. I'll give it up to the cinematography.
100%.
There was a lot of like on location shoots. Even down to like the battle scenes at the end, I thought were very like reminiscent of Harry Potter. I'm gonna skip all around on like general overview here. So like it was very nice to watch. The actors were consistently bad or consistently good. Like
I thought you were about to praise them.
no, I mean it depends. Like some of the actors were consistently good, and then some of them were just consistently bad. But I don't know that that was all on the actors. As I've griped about the entire length of this show, the writing is horrible. It's god awful. And the last couple episodes feel so lazy.
It's worse than CW level writing.
Yeah, it really is.
It might be some of the worst writing I've ever seen on like a mainstream TV series. One with this wasn't cheap. Like this was not a cheap show.
No.
They spent good money on it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to. It's just really, really sad because the source material is fun, and you could see that poke through in episodes that like the source material was fun. It's fantasy. It's not serious fantasy though, right? Like it's not Game of
Thrones. Exactly. Yeah. It's not Game of Thrones. It's not the Lord of the Rings. Like I saw, so Jonathan Caston, the showrunner, like on Twitter, somebody asked him like, what the hell is up with these pop songs at the end of the episode?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, we just wanted to find a way to distinguish ourselves from the Lord of the Rings of Power and House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones and all these things. It's like, okay, but did you have to go there? Like, wasn't there a better way to, like, because tonally, Willow has nothing to do
no
with
sense.
those things. No sense.
Like the pop songs like being remade into whatever they were remade into. I would like to say that they were remade into like a time-fitting song, but it wasn't. Like the show that we've talked about did that the best was Westworld. Yeah. Westworld used a player piano to play modern music and link the two things together. Very cool. Also, this was not their original idea. It's not setting them apart from anything because, as I said, Westworld has been doing this for seasons where they hide, modern music in the beginning or end of the episode.
Well, also, like, for example, if you think like modern music in like an like a context where it doesn't make any sense. Like you can think also of Tarantino. I
Yeah.
think he plays like David Bowie in a scene in Inglourious Bastards, if you remember. I think the scene where she's getting ready to burn the, for the
Yeah,
premiere.
yeah, yeah.
And I think he plays, I don't know what song it is, but like a really modern song in Django in some scenes. Like, but you find a song, like, it's fine to do songs, that don't belong somewhere and find a
Yeah.
way to, like, but you don't have to, like, these are songs that tonally feel completely off with what you just watched.
It
Like, it's
felt
just,
more like Scott Pilgrim than like
yes, yeah,
Willow.
or a CW show.
Yeah.
Like it's like if imagine you were watching, like, say, like The Godfather, and all of a sudden you had, like, the Rise of the Rohirrim, I think is the name of the song that they play, like, in, for um uh Edoras,
Yeah.
in the Lord of the Rings, when they charge in the end in Return of the King, to save,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Where
and
they're all
when
coming in at the last moment. Yeah.
and they play it too when Gandalf shows up in Two Towers. Like, imagine if the Godfather, like, right after, like, Sonny is killed in the explosion or something, they would play Rise of the Rohirrim. Like, it's like it just doesn't go, and it's two great films, two great
Yeah.
pieces of content, but
I think that the music just and the writing just threw everything off.
yeah.
Because the writing sounded like it was being shot for a modern CW show. They used modern slang. It was just very off and felt very different from Willow. Now, there was some good episodes in these four. I'm not going to say they were all bad. Like when they go into whatever it is, the cave city.
Well, we'll go into each of them in a
Okay.
minute, but the last question I want to ask you, like, because I tweeted this to Jonathan Casta and he didn't respond, but like, who the hell was this for? Like, who were you trying to get here? Because, like, I was reading a Twitter thread the other day. I don't know if I told you about it, but, like, how Disney has sort of abandoned their core audience. Because if you ask me, like, what is the core audience for Disney, the answer is children. Like,
Yeah.
Disney is a children's entertainment company. Of course, they have ABC and they, like Fox now. They have, but, like, Disney at their core, when you see the Disney brand, you think children, right? But they've sort of abandoned children in many ways with their content recently. Like, they do, like the Marvel movies are more tailored to, like, what this Twitter thread described as the Funko Pop collector, like 30-something-year-old crowd. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah,
you
I
and
know
me
exactly what
in
you mean.
some
Yeah.
ways. You and me in some ways, right?
Yeah.
And now they're like targeting us and forgetting about the kids. And that's Marvel. Star Wars is the same. I don't know if kids like Star Wars as much as we did. You know what I
I
mean?
don't think
Because
so. Yeah.
they didn't feel as kid friendly as they used to. And then particularly heavily in their animated movies. Like, did you watch Lightyear? I don't think you watched Lightyear, right?
I did watch Lightyear.
Okay, so a big part of the plot is that, like, Buzz goes to space, and because of the theory of relativity, comes back, and for him it's an hour, and he comes back like 20 years later. Remember that?
Yeah, each time.
Each time. How do you, like, my nephew is 5, and how the hell do you explain that to a 5-year-old? Like, on it, like, he was just asking my brother, why does he come back, and, like, how do you? It's a movie for, it's a CGI movie for kids, based on Toy Story. Like, why do you make it so that only the 30-something-year-old Funko people, understand it?
I mean, that's just kind of the way that they do things. Willow is made for Gen X. I mean, it fails.
That's what I was going to ask you. I'm not Gen X, meaning millennials.
No, I think the generation right before millennials.
Oh, sorry. Millennials are Gen Y. Gen X are
before. Like, this is people that grew up in the 80s, right? Okay. Like, they were either in middle or high school in the 80s.
That's millennials. Like, Willow came out in 1989, I think.
Yeah, but that means that someone born in 1980 would have been 9 years old. They probably wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, it's
they would have watched the hell out of that. Like, somebody born in 1980 is 42 right now. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, but that's 43. Not a millennial.
Yes, it is.
No, 82, 83 is millennial.
Oh, well.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like the middle.
Kind of like blurring their line. Okay. So let's go with Gen X and some of Gen Y, some
Yeah,
millennials, right? This writing, these pop songs, like how's that gonna resonate with a 45-year-old,
it
with a
doesn't.
37-year-old?
That's the problem. I don't. I didn't see that it resonated with the only crowd that cared. But it seems like they're going to make a second season.
Where do you get that from?
The ending of the show.
Oh yeah, but everybody wants a second season these days. But now they're cutting costs and the situation is difficult. I don't know if it's gonna get a second season. To be honest, I don't think I'll watch.
Yeah.
Um unless you like, push me to it. But I just there was a point like we'll talk about the episode specifically in a minute, but like the last two episodes, I just felt I was like just I was over it. I was just like, I've had enough of this. Like I'm wasting my time. There's so many things to watch.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't. By the end of it, I was just like, okay, I'm done. Like I didn't. I just finished it to finish it up because I knew we'd be talking about it. But you know, in the beginning,
Yeah,
I liked it, and I
we
wanted
liked
to keep
hated it.
watching it.
We liked hated it. Like
Yeah.
we were sort of enjoying it, but also like hating it
I
really
think that
deeply.
it just really all fell apart with the writing in the second like half of the season, if I can be honest. Like it got so bad that like even my wife was like, "This is horrible writing." I'm like, yeah,
Well, like credit where credit is due. What would you say were the positives here? You mentioned the cinematography. They shot
cinematography, yeah,
real locations, like they went to forests and hills and like
a lot of
like
practical effects were used
that
throughout the
set that they
show.
used. Yes, exactly. A lot of practical. That set that they used for the like where they were holding the brother Eric, that was a real set. Like it wasn't like they was I was outside. Like it was a real set, like
Yeah,
something you don't see, especially in these Star Wars shows or Marvel shows. Like you don't,
no,
you
they
know,
use the same like one room that transforms and all this crap. Yeah,
the Mandalorian one room, yeah. And
hmm
these were real sets. So that I give them. I would also give them a lot on the pacing that you and I already talked about. Like
yeah,
the movie like sorry, the show like moves fast. Like it just they go on the quest like 20 minutes into the episodes. Like
yeah,
screw it, let's just go. I think that was very good. It was never like boring as such. It was more like annoying than
yeah.
boring, right?
I never got bored with the show, and I do. The pacing was really good. Yeah,
The pacing was good. But all right, let's get into episode by episode. We have four to review. So we'll start with Wildwood. Wildwood, you and I, right before we started, we went live, we were sort of getting it mixed up with the third episode, which I think another good thing that they did in the show mostly is that each episode has like a different setting, like a
hmm
different, like even visual aesthetic. So even though you don't remember everything from the episode, you remember like, oh, this is the one where they were in this place, and this
yeah,
is the one where did the thing. So Wildwood was just in the forest, basically. It was a forest episode, which was similar to the third episode where Rebecca from Ted Lasso showed up.
yeah.
But this is the one where they were captured by this group, and it turns out that Jade's sister. I mean, spoilers for these things, but Jade's sister is one of these people in this group.
Yeah, she's like the chief's daughter, like very high up, like would be, a war chief or something.
Right. And then she has some sort of like romantic background with Borman.
Yeah. Her
Um,
sister has a romantic background with Borman.
it's another like Jack Sparrowy situation. If you remember Jack Sparrow,
Yeah,
like
it
in the
is.
first one, he had some sort of background with Zoe Saldana, I
hmm
remember. And then I think the fourth one, Penelope Cruz is like just this lady who shows up, and then she's like his ex girlfriend. I don't know. I was tuned out by Pirates 4, but that's what I sort of remember about it. Um, and
Yeah.
then the brownies show up, which are the really
Itty bitty people.
itty bitty people. Um, which is weird that they find in all this like massive fantastical world. The fact that Willow finds the one brownie he knows right where he's being held captive
I
was
mean,
a
they
bit of a
even they
stretch.
even make a joke about that though.
Yeah, but I mean, the fact that okay, let's talk about this for a second. Like the fact that you acknowledge how stupid something is, just you and me, we love cynicism and we love sarcasm. Like we like when movies just like, yeah, this is what we do. But I feel like sometimes while we admire that or like that, it could be taken to the extreme of being like uh it's not an excuse to do poor writing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, I agree. It's not. It shouldn't be, at least.
Right. And I feel like in that point they sort of did that. So I think this episode was kind of in the vein of the other ones, mildly entertaining, nothing
Mm-hmm.
particularly new, I don't think.
Mm-mm.
A lot of Willow self-loathe, like Willow
Yeah,
just hated himself, which
like
I
him
found
feeling bad about. Yeah.
like I'm nothing. I didn't read Bart Morda. I'm just an idiot. It's like why?
Like, yeah, I mean, although he is super powerful, and they show that several times in the episode that he actually is a pretty good wizard or
He's a
sorcerer.
good wizard, but then he runs out of juice and doesn't save his friend. And then he sort of doesn't give a crap about the quest. We'll get that when we get to the last couple of episodes. But yeah, so this episode I think you and I were both like, okay, this was another Willow episode. Like there was nothing too big about it.
Yeah. I mean,
So
correct.
yeah. Then
Yeah.
episode 6 is called Prisoners of Skellen. And I think this one's where you and I will speak, we'll talk about it the most because it was probably our favorite episode
Mm-hmm.
because of one little thing that happened. Can you say what that is?
All right. So, what is my favorite? What is my favorite thing about this episode?
There's
Hang
one
on.
thing. Come on. We like I texted you. Were like, this is why it was my favorite.
Oh, Christian Slater. Yeah, I had told you before the episode even started. I was like, "This is the best episode. Everything else sucks." Wait,
Honestly, he shows up. He lights up the screen. He's like, it's almost like they brought him in to teach these like younger actors. Like this is what
how you did
charisma
it?
is
This
like.
is how we did it in the '80s.
This is how it did in the 80s, and it like because his lines are also like crappy and stupid,
Yeah,
but his delivery is so genuine, but at the same time self-aware, like an 80s, like and what was the movie we watched with Christian Slater recently? Broken Arrow,
yeah,
which is like a stupid ass movie. It's a ridiculous movie, right? Like it's just a stupid, but it's delivered in a way that's genuine and self-aware at the same time. That tone is completely lost in our day and age.
yeah. It is. I mean, I think that it was awesome that he came on the show and that they tried to like play it off as Mad Mardigan, right? Um,
Yeah.
but I didn't like that they kind of alluded to. There's this whole subplot with him, Mad Mardigan, and Borman, and we don't know who's actually right, and they don't ever clear it up. Like they just create this plot thread and walk away from it.
It doesn't mean like doesn't make any sense at
Yeah,
all. Like this whole conflict with like where was McMartigan, and like why would these guys like you betrayed him? No, you betrayed me. Like that's also another Pirates of the Caribbean thing. If
yeah,
you remember in the third one where they just like had no idea what they're doing and everybody like double crosses, triple crosses, and they explain the triple cross, but you don't understand what happened with the other one. It was completely messy. And again, you were like, I'm fine because it's Christian Slater delivering it.
yeah,
And there was some good banter with him and Borman. Borman for sure. That like 100% the best thing about this show, from
yeah.
my perspective.
I would agree. Like
Yeah,
consistently good in every episode.
consistently good, better even that Warwick Davis, but in big part because Warwick Davis was barely in here.
Yeah,
He was barely in it. But yeah,
first
Christian
show and being a
Slater.
title character.
Yeah, and then they started with their like nostalgia crap that in this episode in Prisoners of Skellen, where they had Mark Mardigan's voice
Yeah, they
come
use
out.
the AI voice again.
It is not the AI. I also saw it. Jonathan Caston tweeted. It's actually Val Kilmer's son,
Why wouldn't they just do the AI voice? At least that was better.
because Val Kilmer's son sounds just like his dad. You didn't
Oh,
notice. He
yeah, I
sounds
didn't.
just like his dad. I think they might have helped with some AI, but also in the Val Kilmer documentary that I don't think we wanted to watch, but we didn't get a chance to. They also had Val Kilmer's son do his dad's voice, and honestly, he sounds just like him. But what he doesn't have is like he sounds like Val Kilmer playing Batman, or like
Yeah, like a
the
monotone
Saint.
delivery of his voice.
Yes, the Saint, the Batman, that Val Kilmer. But Val Kilmer playing Mark Mardigan, he's like playful, funny Val Kilmer. He's
Hmm.
an actor. He does different things. I found it to be cringy and stupid.
I just don't. They never cleared up that plot line ever.
No,
Like,
because they don't know what
and
to do
then
with it.
it's like he got trapped in that light area, which I guess that's where the worm, that's how an area that you can get back and forth between the worm dimension and the regular dimension. And he somehow got trapped there, and that's how he was able to save Kit in the last episode. But
But how is he?
I don't
How
know.
did
They didn't explain it.
that other dimension does not make any sense.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we'll get to it when we talk about the season finale. But the fact that the characters like can't figure out that they're in this other dimension and all the people they're meeting are fake, like it's
Mhm.
just completely stupid.
Yeah.
But we'll get to it in a minute. But yeah, I found it to be jarring and stupid. And then this episode ends with a cliffhanger of Kit about to die.
Mhm.
And we're supposed to be worried about it, but Kit is so fucking annoying all the time.
I think that she gets better. I actually will say that her character gets better in the last like 2 episodes.
You think so? Oh,
Yeah,
well,
I think so.
well, somebody was pointing out, I was reading a critic's review, and this guy pointed out like Jade and Kit had a bit of a love story that's sort of developing between the
Yeah,
two
throughout the
episodes.
show. Yeah.
Yeah, but especially in these two, I think. But Jade is completely superfluous to the plot. Like she's not. Well, what does she do? She so and somebody was saying like the core of Kit's like character arc is her relationship with Alora.
Yeah. Not her
Jade is
relationship. Yeah.
with Jade. Like the point of the show is that she starts hating Alora because supposedly Mark Mardigan and her mom liked her more than they liked Kit, right?
Which is a very like teenage angsty thing, but yeah.
They never sold on it. Like there was not like, and then also they treated each other like they hated each other, then they liked each other. It was like terrible writing. And then so the relationship between them then becoming friends by the end and just like helping each other get through this problem. And they're both the two that jump in that waterfall thing at
Hmm.
the episode after this one. Like but Jade is just there to kind of like have some sort of friendship relationship for Kid, but it's like why do you need it if the relationship she needs to develop is actually another one,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah. I don't know
yeah.
why that was in the show. I mean, I know why, but it was just excessive writing for no
Excessive
reason.
rating. Well, they wanted to have a fellowship, and they're like, okay, the Fellowship of the Ring is 9 people, and we got to have at least like a good 7, because like you can't have a fellowship with like 4 guys,
I mean, the person who I find that becomes most annoying is Alora. Like,
Interesting. I found Kid worse.
so I find that Alora, as the show goes on, gets more and more annoying, whereas Kit like completes her character arc and actually becomes a decent character by the last episode.
Well, then she uses the armor, which
The armor's cool.
I don't
That's the only
know.
thing that like ties it to Mad Mardigan.
Right, but it was like the whole armor thing was about Borman. And he was
No,
like
it
a
was
side plot.
Borman would never be worthy because he had like,
Yeah.
but we all knew that, and she wasn't worthy until she like accepted Alora or whatever.
Again, stupid. All right, Beyond the Shattered Sea is the next episode. So this is the episode. It starts with, and they're with like a guy named Julian. What's his last name? Julian. Well, anyway, he's the guy who plays the villain in Indiana Jones 3. And he also plays an Imperial officer in Star Wars. And he was also Grand Maester Pycelle in Game of Thrones. So this guy's a legend. Julian Glover. This guy's a legend. Like, he's been in your favorite things, but, you wouldn't know him by name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he plays the old man that, like, gives them shelter for a bit, if you remember, before they go on the boat. And they steal
Yeah,
his
okay,
boat,
yeah. And then he ends up being evil or whatever.
Right. Oh, by the way, he also plays the villain in For Your Eyes Only.
Wow, he does have a long career, and he's always a bad guy. Well, not
He's always
always,
a bad guy.
but
Here he was. He
Yeah.
was also in Harry Potter. He voiced the spider Aragog in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. So, they take his boat and they go through the Shattered Sea, which visually was really, really awesome. Like,
Yeah,
I
it was
love the idea that the Shattered Sea was like a really like not like almost like ankle deep beach,
Water, yeah, forever.
never
It was like a
ending.
giant sound that went on forever. Yeah.
Right? It was awesome.
Yeah, it looked really cool. They did a really good job with it, and especially with like the mudfish and like the little islands. Yeah, it was good. That was pretty cool.
There's a scene at night between Alora and Kit that it's like they have all the stars around them. Like that's a good visual as well. Like again, they had a few people that knew what they were doing.
Yeah, the
You know,
cinematography team definitely knew exactly
cinematography.
what they were doing.
Yeah, and the set design in some
Mhm.
ways. The costumes look very modern. It looks like they're wearing like American Eagle stuff at times. You know what I mean? Like True Religion jeans and American Eagle jackets at times. It's kind of goofy. But whatever. That's what I wanted to go with. What else in this episode? There's this
Nothing
relationship.
real. I mean, there was a
Oh,
cool fight scene, but the episode doesn't. It takes a. It's the only episode that I thought was a filler episode, if I'm being completely honest. While it looked beautiful, there wasn't really much you gained out of the episode except for there was a cool fight scene and Alora finally starts to harness her magic. And then at the very end, Alora and Kit finally go to like become friends and
and
jump off
jumps.
the edge of the world.
Well, yeah, and there was also the relationship between Grayson and this fish that was pulling the boat.
Yeah, the fish. Yeah.
And then like he lets him go because the
Because,
fish was dying.
yeah.
And then but he lets him go because the fish was dying, and everybody's pissed at him, especially
No, but it's
Norman.
because they were all starting to go crazy, which is what
Right.
the old guy had said at the beginning of the episode is like when you get very, very far to the edge of the shattered sea, like your mind is breaking basically because
Right. And then but what within that plot point, it was pretty inconsistent how everybody like was pissed at Grayson for doing that. And then they were not anymore. And then
yeah,
they all just like they were like, "Oh,
like they
cool, my
woke
friend
up or
Grayson."
something.
And
You
then
know, I
Morgan
don't
wants
know.
to make out with him or something in the next episode after they jump off the
Well, because
waterfall
it's
thing.
like, yeah, I guess before he dies.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
he's pissed at him. Like I feel like it's not. It feels like there's no consistency on how these characters treat one another and
there's not.
engage with
I
each
mean,
other.
I don't in like, getting towards the end of the last episode. Yeah, like I said, I feel like it just got lazier and the writing got lazier and lazier. Like the action scenes were cool and the fight scenes were cool and the city of the undead was really cool looking, right? Like all of that was awesome looking and there's just nothing to tie it together. No substance to the plot.
Nothing. It feels like a waste in many ways. Like they wasted so many good ideas that they actually did have.
Yeah.
Maybe they got. I'm sure that George Lucas gave him some notes when he sold Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
He gave notes about episodes 7, 8, and 9 of Star Wars, and I'm sure he gave him Indiana Jones notes, and he gave him Willow notes, and they might have taken some of that from there, for the sequel that George Lucas and always talked about doing that
Yeah.
he never got around to. So some of that might have come from that. Who knows, right? And then also the writer of the original movie is also in the he's a part of the writers team, which is pretty
I mean,
crazy.
maybe just as a,
He's credited as the sole writer of episode 2. So there you go.
yeah.
So the last episode is called the Children of the Worm. What do you think about this one?
Like I said, the battles were really cool. The cinematography was great. Like the city of the undead was awesome. Even the scenes where like they're under the worm's control, those were done and shot pretty well. Where they're in like a forest and all of that was done well. It's just like there's one scene where she like calls the worm a bitch and it just makes no sense at all.
Oh god, that was so stupid.
Like none. It honestly makes no sense why the worm is called a bitch, but she is.
because it's cool and teenagers say it. I mean, also something else I was reading is that like this feels like it was a show written by adults that pretend to know how teenagers talk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know many teenagers, thankfully, but like I can't believe that's how they talk. You know, like it just
If it is, that's hilarious. I didn't
their
know.
attitude might be like that. You know, angsty and pissed off all the time at their parents, but like the slang or whatever doesn't sound like teenage slang. It's not like how we spoke when we were teenagers. The writers must be our age, you know,
Maybe
a
they
bit
are.
older. Yeah,
I mean, I guarantee they are. I can look it up, but
I mean Jonathan Kasdan is. I can tell you how old he is. He's 43, so bit pretty much older than. By the way, Jonathan Kasdan, as we said before, is the son of Lawrence Kasdan, screenwriter of Raiders of the Lost Ark and Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens. So big, George Lucas collaborator. His dad, though, not him.
Just a little bit of nepotism there.
A little bit. And it was funny because I have my friend Wojtek, I play soccer with him. He also watches the show. He'll listen to this. So hi, Wojtek. Hope you're doing well. He like also watched the show and we talk about it sometimes. And he was like, this show he's not like a big like movie trivia kind of guy like you and I are.
Yeah.
And he was like, this show feels like a show written by like the child of somebody really famous who just, got a lot of money and, they just let him do it. And I was like, that is exactly what it is.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
It's insane that he guessed it without not knowing at all, It's crazy. Like, honestly, to me, it was like, wow.
I mean,
yeah. And also the writer of Solo, like how many turds can you do? I'm sure he's a great guy and a super responsible professional, but this was not good work, and his writers group didn't do good work either. All right. I thought this episode was stupid and I was tuned out by this point, and even Rachel was like she just like got up and started doing something else. Like, I think she started like she went to get a snack and took like 10 minutes. She didn't give a crap about this. She was just like, she was like, I don't have time for this. Like,
I mean, Monica almost gave up on it, but didn't fully. She was like sitting on her phone, but yeah. And I can see why. I didn't find it compelling. I thought, to your point, the battles looked like Harry Potter, but instead of looking like interesting, they looked derivative to the level of like green power versus blue power. Yeah, they did the same Star Wars color scheme again.
Well, but not only that, but that's Harry Potter does the red, if you remember, and Voldemort does the green.
Yeah.
And even the Harry Potter structure, while it worked in the Harry Potter movies, was abused when you got to the Fantastic Beasts movies. Like that, like or whatever, the wand or whatever it is. Like that idea has been like done to death. And if you compare it with the original movie, which the show kind of like begs you to do.
Yeah.
That was a battle of wits. Like Willow was not more powerful than Bavmorda. He was just clever, and and he was a brave guy who it just. And this one's just like for 10 minutes, and then you win. It's like whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. That's exactly what it is. It's just like them blasting each other back and forth.
Yeah,
did you think the armor at least looked cool? I thought the armor looked cool.
No, the armor looked good, and whatever, it was set up properly, but whatever. And then I think Borman has a quip that the only quip by Borman that I sort of felt like they took it too far when he was like, "I want my mom." Like, yeah. I was like, that's a bit too dumb. Like, it's, I get, I love Borman, but just don't make me bored with him. And it's kind of like the same as Jack Sparrow. Like, he was great for, the first movie, and then
and then you can have a little bit for the second movie, but by the 8th time that you've done it, you're kind of
by the third one, they were like, how do we make Jack Sparrow funny? Oh, just have him talk with different versions of himself for 25 minutes. Remember the third one?
Yeah.
Like, it's like
I think the third one is the last one that I actually watched.
The The third. No, I watched all of them. Unfortunately, the decay of
You're a
good
braver man than
ideas.
I.
Yeah. So anyway,
To sum it up, we're very disappointed in the second half of Willow, and it progressively somehow gets worse and worse as you watch it. But if you want to feel nostalgic about something and have somebody crap on your nostalgia, then watch Willow. It'll do that for you.
well, somebody crap on your nostalgia, and yeah, like but not really feeling like it. Like I don't think I feel as nostalgic about Willow as I felt. For one, I was like, I feel like my nostalgia has been squeezed dry at this point, but
Yeah.
I don't feel as nostalgic about Willow as I once felt about, say, Star Wars or Karate Kid or all the other things they have exploited. As like this one, it was a misfire.
I
It's
mean, yeah.
not it's not different enough to be its own thing from like, because it's called Willow. Like, it's not. If they would have called it the Seekers of whatever, come up with a
Yeah.
fantasy name.
The worm. Yeah, I don't know.
The Seekers of the Worm, the battle for whatever, come up with some shit.
They could have called it Elora Danon. I mean, they
The
could have called it
Loredanan,
anything. Yeah.
yes, the Fellowship of Elora or something. Then you could have done that, and then, like, because you say this was made for old people, I say old people are likely to be annoyed by these characters, so they're like, but it's okay because it's also made for young people. Then young people don't know who the fuck Willow is, so they're like why would I care about, like, just call it the Fellowship of Elora and bring in the young people, and they will enjoy it more than you and I would, and it would have saved us 8 hours of our lives.
And these were full hour episodes too.
These
They're
were
like,
full hour episodes.
Yeah.
So anyway, glad it's done. To be honest, I'm glad we can move on. Now we're going to be reviewing weekly The Last of Us. All right.
Yep.
I haven't seen it yet, so hopefully it'll be way better than this. John, let's jump on the other stream. If you like what we say and do, jump on the other stream and watch us review the menu in about like 10 minutes or so. Oh god, we have comments. I didn't notice. Oh, it's Dives. Holy crap.
The Disney Plus National Treasure show.
Dives. What does he say? He says, you guys need to review Disney Plus National Treasure. It's so hilariously bad, right up your alley. You know what? I started to watch it, Dives. And it's exactly the same as Willow. And I felt like I was like, I've had enough with one of these. I was like, I don't have time for two of these. But John, I mean, we could try it, but I don't think. Here's the thing: like, I love bad things. Willow sounds like a Zack Snyder film. Wasted good ideas. Yeah,
it was
exactly,
yeah, it was.
exactly. Like, we enjoy bad things, but when something's charmingly bad, but this was just bad. Like, it's
pretty bad.
Would you recommend it? I guess let's close it with that. Would you recommend it?
No, there's better things to watch.
Oh, Dives is still here.
The Last of Us. I just finished watching it. We're going to review it tomorrow, I think.
Yeah. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm excited for it. I'll watch it tonight as well, or later, or earlier. Dives, if you've seen the menu, feel free to jump with us to watch the menu, to review the menu very soon. I guess we'll see you in a bit, John. Remember to follow us wherever, and we'll see you later. Goodbye, Willow, forever.